So good morning, welcome. Welcome to those of you here in the studio, and welcome to those of you home online. People here in the studio, everything continues as per normal. I do a little bit of talking towards this ether, but we don't play any music because apart from breaching copyrights, it affects sound quality as well. So find your ideal comfortable seat and start with essential oils as per usual. So this morning's blend we have peppermint, cedarwood and lavender. If for any reason you don't want to use the oils for your breath work, just leave your palms facing down. Otherwise the palms will face up. And just close down the eyes, find a nice long spine, and if that means propping yourself up on a block or a blanket to get those knees below the hips, then please do so. And then just check in with the breath. Just notice where it's at this morning. I'm going to take a clearing breath in through the nose, filling everything up. Feel the expansion. And sigh out the mouth. Let it go. Nice. Another one of those. Big deep inhale. And sigh exhale. And then settle into your breath pattern, which might be, if you practice it, Ujjayi breath with that slight restriction. Or it might just be working towards an even breath or samavriti. A place where the inhale and the exhale length match. Finding a rhythm that serves. Feel the oils dripping to your hand. Gently rub the palms together and introduce the aroma to your breath. If you're at home and you're not using oils, just continue with this breath pattern. We'll take 5 more rounds. And feel free to work towards deepening it by lengthening the exhale first. If you're using the oils, just bringing the palms up in front of the nose on the inhale breath. And controlling the exhale. If you have any additional oil residue on the hands, once you've finished your rounds, just rubbing it into a place you'd like to give yourself a little bit of massage, which might be the back of the neck, the lower back, the feet, or anywhere like that. Start today recline in this constructed rest position, or with the soles of the feet flat on the floor, like you're setting up a bridge pose. Make sure you have one of your blocks handy. And just placing it down beside you for now. We'll start with some pelvic tilts. So just feeling for the natural curve in the lower back. Just noticing the space. See if you can slide the hand in underneath just to check in that that's there. And then we'll just move through pelvic tilts just by arching and flattening the back. So start by flattening, pressing the lower back into the mat. And then on the change of your breath, allow that natural curve to come back in and accentuate it just slightly. And then just moving through that motion with your breath, finding that flattening effect by engaging the core, feel the tilt through the pelvis. And use the inhale to return the arch and accentuate it slightly. Just moving through that. And finding 3 more. If it works better for you to switch the breath in the opposite direction, feel free. And then once you finish your round, you're going to take hold of the block and on its narrowest width, squeeze it between the thighs. So it's above the knee, so not touching the kneecaps at all. And find that sense of activation by squeezing. And then press down through the heels, start to slowly lift the hips. And lifting up towards bridge pose. Not forcing any height at all, and just exhaling your way back down. Feeling the vertebrae one at a time peel down onto the mat. Take a moment at the bottom. Feel that sense of one of those pelvic tilts, returning the arch to the back. And then flatten the back out and lift up. So starting to move through that with your breath. You might inhale to the top and exhale to the bottom, or you might take it in the opposite direction. Take a breath pattern that serves you this morning. And that creates a sense of ease, that creates a sense of rhythm, a sense of flow. Taking 2 more full rounds. Once you finish your rounds in your time, place the block to the side and draw the knees in towards the chest without pulling on the knees. Just draw them in as much as you can, do so actively. And then start to flex the feet and extend the feet up towards the ceiling. Reach up the inside line and take hold of either inside or outside edge of the feet and find your happy baby pose. Knees drawing towards the armpits. And then any kind of movement that serves you today. So that sense of grounding through the lower back, feeling the sacrum land on the mat, or at least the energy towards that. One more breath. And then start to slowly extend the legs up towards the ceiling. Now you might like to support the lower back by sliding the hands in underneath the sides of the buttocks. And we're going to take circles with the legs. Now if this feels a little bit too intense today, you might bend the knees and just make circles with the knees bent. Otherwise, to get a little bit more into the core, supporting with the hands on either sides of the buttocks, find a point through the feet and then start to draw big circles with the toes. So drawing the legs out wide to start with, slowly bring them down and then towards the midline. Flex the feet as you inhale them up through center. Again, point the toes, draw a nice big wide circle. And only going as low as you can keep that low back pressing into the mat. So that might be your circle's not quite as large. And just take one more in that direction. And we'll take it back in the opposite direction. So being mindful to notice where the low back is, keep it connected to the mat as you lower the legs down through center, keep the feet flexed. And then point the toes, take them out wide and around and up, meeting in the center. I'm going to take 4 more rounds like that. Beautiful. Once your rounds are complete, meet with the knees drawn into the chest. And any movement that serves here. You might take a little rock side to side, but again, try not to pull the knees in too much. Slide the hands underneath the knees, and we'll roll it up. So a few little rock and rolls. We'll meet in a tabletop position. If you prefer to just roll over and come up there, feel free. Otherwise, you might cross the shins or sweep the legs out to the side. Nice, and then setting up in your tabletop. Check and make sure that your wrists are nicely stacked underneath the shoulders, the knees are under the hips. And then start to move through cat-cow, so dropping the belly, find a nice arch, lift the gaze. And then draw lower belly and round and dome through the upper back. Press the mat away. And then start to really flow once again with the rhythm of your breath. Take one more full round. And then from your neutral tabletop, just take the hands a little bit further forward, tuck the toes, and lift straight into your downward facing dog. And from your down dog, start to pedal out the feet. Take any movement that serves. Working your way towards stillness, but no rush to get there. Beautiful. Once you've found stillness, I'm going to inhale, rise up onto the toes. Then on the exhale, drop both heels out towards the right. I'm finding a gentle twist. And then inhale back through center, both heels over to the left. And back through center. Gazing back, start to walk the hands back, and walking yourself into a standing forward fold. Feet can be hip distance apart, bend through the knees. Hands find opposite elbows and let the head hang heavy. Maybe a little bit of movement, a little bit of rocking side to side, maybe a release through the neck by nodding and shaking the head. Maybe you prefer stillness. Gently release the hands to the floor. Toe heel the feet a little bit wider as we set up for Malasana squat. So toes turn out, heels turn in, and slowly sink down. Nice, and then just lift up just a little bit higher just to activate the pose a little more. And then find a little bit of lift through the chest, the sternum, and gazing straight ahead, and start to pry open the knees with the elbows. One more breath here. Place the hands back down, return to your standing forward fold. Toe heel the feet back in. And then slowly bring the hands to the shins, find a halfway lift, gazing towards the top of your mat. Bend the knees as you need to and walk yourself into downward facing dog. And then from your down dog, ripple forward, find a high plank position. Bring the knees to the mat. From there, lower forward and down all the way to your belly. Arms come forward, forearms down, Sphinx pose. And get a sense of driving the pelvis forward and down into the mat, finding length through the lower back. Drawing energy in and up through the low belly and out through the crown of the head. A sense of pulling the floor back, creating space in the shoulders. And then take the elbows out wide, release down, slide the hands back and press yourself back into a child's pose. And then tuck the toes and lift up into downward facing dog. Walk the hands to the back of the mat, find your standing forward fold. And then toe heel the feet a little wider, sink down into Malasana. And lift up just that little bit. And then from here, reach the arms forward. We're going to walk to the top of the mat. So a nice waddle. Yeah, so get it nice and active. And just take your time as you need to. Find this nice walking sensation. Nice and mindful, considering the situation you're in. And then hands come back. Settle. Hands plant down, toe heel the feet back in, standing forward fold. Then inhale, slowly curl up. Arms reach, palms touch. Hands draw down through heart center. Sweep them through. Inhale, reach. Little bend to the knees, exhale, fold. Halfway lift, hands to shins, or the mat. Nice, long neck with the gaze down. Bend the knees, plant the hands, step the right foot back, drop the right knee to the mat. Active inner thighs, feel the squeeze inwards. Inhale, rise up with the arms. Create space across the chest. And get a sense of lift by pressing down through the feet, the front foot and the back shin. And then get a sense of sinking by pressing them away from each other. And then find the midpoint, draw in through the lower belly. Feel a lift through the crown of the head. Next exhale, frame the foot and step back to downward facing dog. You might stay right here. Otherwise, we'll take it through a flow, coming forward. Find your high plank, take a moment. Drop the knees, lower to the belly. Sphinx pose. Inhale, feel the lift. Feel that drawing in, extending through the crown. Lower down, take it back, maybe straight to down dog, or take it through that child's pose. And then lift to down dog. Inhale, reach the right leg high. Stepping that foot through between the hands. Low lunge once again, dropping the back knee. Inhale, rise up. Nice full breath. Once again, energizing the pose by drawing back knee, front heel in towards each other. And then maybe deepening the stretch by extending them away from each other. All the while keeping the activation through the low belly, the reach through the crown. Next, exhale, frame the foot. This time we step forward, standing forward fold. Inhale, curl it up. Reach it tall. Exhale, hands come through, sweep them through, and reach up once again. Forward fold over the legs. Hands to shins, halfway lift. Knees bend, hands plant. Step the left foot back. Drop the left knee. Lunging once again, inhale, rise. Activate, drawing it in. And then activate, feel the sink as you press apart. Next exhale, frame the foot. Step it back, maybe down dog and hold. Or flow it out, high plank. Knees down, drawing forward and down to the belly. Inhale, Sphinx pose, come to the forearms. Exhale, take it back, maybe child's or straight to down dog. Inhale, left leg lifts. Exhale, step it through. Knee drops, inhale, rise. Finding the shape, finding the activation. One more inhale breath. Exhale, frame the foot. Step it forward. Forward fold. Inhale, curl it up. Reach. Exhale, hands through heart. Nice work. Take hold of one of your blocks. And then just notice if you step the feet to hip distance or where the heels are pretty much under the sit bones, just notice which width is going to work better for you. And then squeeze the block between the thighs so it's above the knees. Beautiful. Utkatasana chair pose. So start to bend at the knees. You gaze down. Once you see the knees cover up all the toes, start to draw the butt back until you can see all the toes once again. Draw lower belly in. Make sure it feels nice and spacious in the lower back. And if it does, start to reach the arms up. Maybe there's a little bit more space to sink a little deeper. Nice, 3 more breaths here. Notice what happens if you draw the lower belly in a little more. Notice what happens when you take the arms a little wider. Nice, 1 more breath. And then start to fold over the legs. Remove the block, place it to the side. And then toe heel the feet out. Malasana as you lower down. Beautiful. Malasana is a transition to your bottom, so you can just bring the hands back or maybe just sit on down. Extend the legs out in front. Take hold of your blanket. And take it behind you just as a prop if you need it to sit up on. Just to give you a little bit more height. We're going to start with Sukhasana, easy cross legs. So bring the right shin in front to start with and look for parallel shins more or less. And then try and take the heels as far across you as you can. And it's like you're trying to find cross legs with the legs as far away from you. So tendency is to pull in, we want to take them away. And we feel that length and lift out of the low back. And you might bring in your blocks as we fold forward to rest the forehead on. But start with a sense of sending the energy of the knees down towards the mat. And then start to look for the feeling of trying to squeeze the knees in towards each other without letting them move. And then draw in through the lower belly and start to walk yourself forward. And once you start to feel the sensation in the outer hips, you're in the pose. That might mean you stay exactly where you are, just breathing into that sensation. If there's more, keep walking forward. Maybe the forehead can come to the blocks, or even all the way to the mat. If you can comfortably forward fold all the way to flat without feeling the sensation, you can transition to the next stage with the foot up on top of the knee. Be here for around about 10 breaths. Just really slowing it all down, starting to check in. Really tune into the rhythm of your breath. About now, you might normally expect to tune into the beautiful sounds of the music. For now, you get to listen to your breath. And if you notice that you're listening to thoughts instead, try and make your thoughts about your breath. And if you feel a sense of invitation to go a little deeper, rather than forcing the head lower, try and take the blocks a little bit further away from you first, so you're always working this length out of the low back. Three more breaths here. And rather than planning your exit strategy for the last 3 breaths, just explore the opportunities to sink just that little bit deeper this last little moment without any force. And next inhale, slowly come up. Beautiful. Take a moment, ease back, release the feet. And little windscreen wipers to release, or any other movement that feels like a nice release, which might be shaking the legs out forward or anything like that. And the joys of straight into the other side. So bringing the left shin in front this time and setting yourself up. Find that little lift of the hips using the blanket. And once again, taking the legs, trying to get them as far away from you as you can. Shuffling the feet across. And looking for these 2 straight lines in front of you with the shins. If that's super intense, you can always take the front foot a little bit further forward if you need to, particularly if there's any knee pain. And then look for that lifting from the lower belly, that sense of pressing down with the knees, but also trying to lift them up without letting them move. And then start to come forward into your fold. Tuning in once again with the rhythm of your breath. Maybe you can slow it down. If you do notice that tension is really building up in a particular position, you can always experiment with an exhale out the mouth. See if that relieves a little tension. Try and resist the tendency to collapse into the pose. Still looking for that sense of activation through the legs, the sense of the knees pressing down towards the floor, but at the same time trying to pull in towards each other. The feet flexing, so the toes drawing towards the shins. And keeping that bottom half nice and active to create the space. And work into those places we're trying to open up. And looking for another 5 full deep breaths. After your 5th exhale is complete, you start to ease your way up on the next inhale breath. And then once again, releasing out those windscreen wipers or anything else you took. Beautiful, and once you feel nicely released, you can cross the shins to come over or sweep the legs out to the side. We'll meet in a downward facing dog. From your down dog, reach the right leg high. I'm going to step the right foot to the outside of the right hand. Drop the back knee, and you might bring in the blanket. We'll be in our lizard lunge for a little while. Take a stance where this front heel is forward of the front knee. And then you might bring in the blocks to take it a little lower. The blocks might come to the forearms. And even if you're not taking it lower, the blocks is actually just a beautiful way so that you're not using the wrists the entire time. But if there is space to come down, you come all the way down to the forearms on the mat. Just checking in to see if there's any more depth that you can achieve by tucking the toes, lifting the knee, and maybe sliding that back leg a little bit further back. Don't force anything, but just feel free to explore. And sink into that breath rhythm once again. You might like to work with a little pause at the top of the inhale and a little pause at the bottom of the exhale. Using those moments of pause to notice the depth of the stretch. And if little micro movements work for you, feel free. That might mean a gentle, slow, side to side rock. It might mean coming onto the blade edge of that front foot.
And 3 more breaths here. And for these final 3 breaths, see if you can send a little bit more energy in a forwards direction. Forwards mostly with the hips. And then start to slowly ease your way back up. Toe heel this foot. You're going to toe heel it all the way across to pigeon, but take your time, set it up. You might toe heel it a little bit closer to you so that you can drop that right wrist. So drop the right knee towards the right wrist, and then you might slide the blanket over so it's supporting underneath the right hip, the right buttocks, which might mean folding it up a little bit more. Using that support to get a sense of level across the hips, a sense of squaring. If there's more space and you'd like to experiment with it, making sure there's no pain in the knee, but you might like to work the shin towards straight, which might require a little bit more propping up. Otherwise, keep the heel in towards the midline and then working into the fold. And just 3 full breaths here. And then slowly rising up. Slide out of the way any props, and then you'll transition, make your way to downward facing dog. You might just roll out the hip and take any movement that feels good. You might just walk, pedal out the feet. Do whatever you need to do to set yourself up for the second side. And then as you're already lifting the left leg, you might like to bring the left hand in a little closer and then set the left foot to the outside of the left hand. And return the blanket for the back knee as we sink into lizard lunge once again, finding that nice level of depth, nice length with the stride. And then maybe it's the forearms or the blocks. And settling right in. Finding that breath rhythm, finding that juicy place. And 5 more breaths here. Play with that subtle movement. Feel free to experiment with that once again. And the rounds of breath are complete. Slowly making your way back up. And you shuffle the blanket to the other side. And as you toe heel that foot across, setting up for pigeon pose. And dropping the knee towards the left wrist. And reset that back leg, make sure it's nice and straight. Working this front shin to the position that serves, propping yourself up if you need it. And once you've found the activation, the integrity of the pose, and then starting to come down a little deeper. And keeping the mind checked in with the rhythm, the fluidity of the breath. Nothing to notice if you're holding yourself back. Let the inhale create space, and the exhale drop you into that space. Final breath in the pose. And then coming out. Your option, if you wish, is to step back to down dog and find those little rinse outs with the hips. Anything you need. You might even just do it from tabletop position, which we'll meet on our backs once you're ready. Just making your way there. Make sure you've got one or both blocks handy. We'll finish with a supported bridge. So set yourself up in that bridge position, and then slide one block underneath the sacrum. If you'd like to finish with active back bends, feel free. Otherwise, bringing the block into that place, you can settle on it, feels comfy. If there's enough space and you feel like you want to take it higher, feel free. And just let everything settle onto the block. And if you'd like to, waterfall as an option, extending the legs and maybe even the arms up as well. And 5 breaths here before we close. And then once your 5th exhalation is complete, slowly lowering down. Take your time to ground the feet before you lift the hips and slide the block out of the way. And if you need any twists or any other final movements before Shavasana, feel free to take them now. And then we'll meet in this Shavasana shape. For the final pose, the practice of relaxation, allowing the weight of the body to drop into the mat. attention has drifted, bring it back to the breath. If you're at home and you have time to stay longer, feel free to stay longer in your Shavasana. For us here in the studio, start to bring movement back to the body, little wriggles and jiggles through the fingers and toes, any other movement that helps you reawaken the body. And then as you're already making your way through one side, we'll meet in a comfortable seated position to close. Hands can remain resting on the lap or fold the palms together at heart center. Gently bowing the head towards the hands in honor of your practice today. And close together on a nice full breath, inhaling through the nose to fill everything up. And then sigh it all out the mouth, let it go. Thank you all so much for joining me, sharing your time, your energy, and sharing your practice. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Namaste. Thank you, everyone.